Now, a few weeks ago, I was sitting in bed, kind of bored, staring at the PS5 store, and I was feeling this sense of burnout and some fatigue. I was looking for something fun, something that wasn't the traditional Sony game or walking sim I'd gotten so used to playing over the past year. I wanted something that would restore that missing feeling of excitement, and my god man, I'm not sure there could have been a better game for that. So please, go on this brief 10-minute adventure with me as I show you some of the most insane gameplay you've ever seen and spark some possible intrigue for one of the greatest stealth games ever made. The story of Metal Gear Solid 5 is a confusing and ultimately mixed bag of a campaign. However, I am not reviewing this game from the traditional lens, because this game offers some of the most hilariously insane moments I've ever seen in my 12 years of playing video games. In the first 2 hours of this game, we're introduced to these guys, a fire horse, one of the most outrageous lines of dialogue in any game ever, and this heinous device that pulls you into fucking space. Seriously, I finished this entire story in about 2 weeks, and I'd be lying if I could tell you anything about half these characters in this journey, or what the story even meant by the end. However, I didn't really need to, because this game doesn't really rely on the traditional elements to be memorable. Because every quest in this game contains several moments through the gameplay and narrative that made me burst out laughing several times. Phantom Pain is full, and I mean full of memorable and iconic characters, creating one of my favorite crews in gaming. From the badass Big Boss to the cunning Ocelot, the ruthless Miller, or Quiet. There's many characters in this game who make an impact and honestly save this game in the narrative department, because what story is here was not compelling for me in the slightest. And in all honesty, that's because I didn't really engage with it. Your experience will probably be much different, especially if you're into these kind of stories. But then again, who needs stories when you have Quiet? Quiet is a character you encounter around halfway through the story in a sniper boss battle, which was definitely one of the better bosses in the game in my opinion. After you overcome the mighty Sniperess, you're presented with two choices. Kill her now and liberate her from the enemy faction Cypher, or recruit her as an ally and companion. Doing the latter will result in many of the game's most insane moments, which actually sparked a little bit of controversy surrounding the game when it came out. Claiming Quiet was nothing more than surface level sex appeal and felt degrading and distasteful to her overall character. Quiet is one of the most aggressively sexualized characters I've seen in any video game, period. But then again, I struggle to see the issue here. Konami made the 100% completion bonus of this game an opportunity to shower with the waifu. So I think they know their audience very well, let's be honest. Anyways, that's enough of that. Let's jump into the gameplay. Gameplay in the Phantom Pain is most of the time extremely simple, with the exception of a few set-piece moments that occur in the story. The main gameplay loop is infiltrating an enemy base, killing or rescuing the hostage or the commander of that area, then evacuating via chopper or riding away with your horse. It sounds simple and almost a little too basic considering the length of this game, which is 35 to 40 hours. However, the lengths Konami go to ensure this never gets old are downright genius. Without spoiling too much, there's 3 areas of the gameplay that all play a big role in how you engage with the mission, and that's A, your choice of resources, B, how you approach the objective, and C, how to improvise when things inevitably go to shit. See, in Phantom Pain, choices A and B are always going to play out extremely well and give you a brief feeling of optimism for the mission at hand. But I promise you, 9 out of 10 times I went in with said plan, I immediately came up with another. Because the AI in this game is absolutely relentless. They will trace your footsteps, determine the exact direction of gunfire, and could even hear the suppressed gunfire from a certain distance. This is one of the few games I've played where the enemy AI feels extremely realistic and capable. And because of this, you're definitely gonna make some mistakes. But in MGS5, every mistake is poised with a solution. Let's say, for example, you're in the middle of the desert, surrounded by enemies, and all hope seems lost. Fingers are on the triggers and hands on the grip, you feel absolutely helpless in this moment. But luckily for you, there's now a sandstorm that will give you an opportunity to annihilate the alerted enemies and make your presence unknown once again. I'd say almost 20 out of the 30 missions in this game are like this, and the scripted missions are all fun and unique in their own rights. Apart from this one though, this mission was absolute fucking horseshit. Whoever came up with this one needed to be fired, man. The gameplay in the Phantom Pain is consistently fun and exciting in all the ways a good stealth game should be. And there's so much more I didn't mention, like sucking enemies into black holes, this weird thing, or sending them into outer space with your exploitation device, whatever the fuck it's called. But the rest is for you guys to discover yourselves, and I really hope you give this one a chance. What I also love about the gameplay loop is how varied and compatible it is with everyone's unique playstyles. Almost every gun you can think of is in this game. There's an insane amount of unlockables and customizations for Snake, Diamond Dogs, and his companions. And the amount of tools at your disposal simply never gets old. The variety in this game is insane, and you'll be unlocking things way long after the credits roll. Okay, if I haven't already convinced you to try this game out, it's got one final card up its deck that won me over, and I'm sure it'll win you over too. Now, have you ever played a game that just has this feeling to it you can't explain? For example, you might be at work, with friends, or eating some food, and you just reminisce on a game and how it made you feel, and how overall fond you are of the overall experience. Well, that's almost exactly what comes to mind when I think of the Phantom Pain. Almost everything in this game contributes towards this over-the-top, insane atmosphere, and I fucking love it. Whether it's the dialogue, sound design, beating up my own militia, everything in this game gave me such an experience that seriously took me back to that nostalgic feeling of being a child on my Xbox again. It has that feeling of simplicity and insanity to its gameplay and world that's really nostalgic for me and delivered something I've been desperate to experience in recent times. And that's a taste of how things used to be. I miss when games weren't so serious. I miss when games used to be fun in a way that wasn't centered around player retention or capitalizing on industry trends. I miss the feeling of playing a video game that wasn't insecure about its identity and felt completely comfortable with whatever the player wanted it to be. Phantom Pain gives you almost everything you could want from it. Fun stealth gameplay you can enjoy for brief or long sessions at a time. A compelling story that becomes deeper and more interesting the further you analyze it. Batshit insane moments throughout the entire experience that will stick with you for years to come. I rarely play games that stick with me. In fact, in recent years, I can count that number on one hand, probably. However, this game revived many of my excitements and dreams I had, which I thought were simply impossible, and that's the feeling of coming home. Logging into a game and just being excited to enjoy whatever the game had in store for me that day. MGS5 gave me that feeling once again, and I'm extremely grateful for that. In conclusion, Metal Gear Solid 5 is absolutely exceptional. Everything in this game is iconic. From the soundtrack, which is still used today in many videos I watch, to the memes, the gameplay, stealth, and almost everything in between. There's very few things wrong with this game, and even when it sort of fumbles the story towards the end or gives you the crappy mission here and there, at that point you're at least 35 hours deep, and for me personally, 15 minutes of disappointing story doesn't take away from the 1800 minutes spent in absolute bliss. This game is not just one of the best I've played in the last couple of years, it's something that will be on my mind for countless years to come. And with the much anticipated Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater next year, I've never been more excited for what lies in the future. And I hope you are too. Anyways, thank you for watching the video, I really appreciate it if you stuck to the end, and next week I'll have another video in store for you guys. I'll try and keep this as consistent as possible. Thanks for watching and have a lovely day. I'll see you guys next time. Take care, bye bye.